Thank you for tuning in to the Lethal Truth, where the truth shall set you free by any means necessary. I'm talking about mentally, it could be physically, depending on your situation. You could be in prison. I could say something that can help you out at a law library. I seen a situation like that happen. Somebody was locked up for a particular case. Law and Order, they made an episode of it. They came with their own theories, and it caused a whole man to get a whole reverse and beat his case. I'm telling you, the truth is powerful. That's why I call it the lethal truth. Now, as soon as you up in here, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you will know when I start scheduling my show, so you'll be aware of it ahead of time. It also lets you know an hour before I get on, so you'll be prepared, So with that being said, I'm gonna wait for about a minute or two, wait for everybody to start tuning in. Who's on here? Lethal Seduction, Boss Lady, what's up? What's that? Glossy 101. Okay, Glossy, you're here listening to the truth. Okay, Glossy, what's up? Pleasure to meet you. That's a new name. I never ran into that name up here. Peace and blessings to you and your family. I hope you're enjoying the weather. If you're not outside and you're inside, that's cool. Hey, have you heard people was outside at the Diddy trial and they were selling the shirts, free Diddy shirts? Diddy had them. He was paying them $20 an hour. I was like, what? I'm about to run down there. Look, $20 an hour from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that trial is about 6 weeks. You keep playing this game and be proud with yourself. You got these people running around here picking up bottles, putting bottles in their shopping cart, going to get money. They're at the pantry line, getting free food, and some of y'all want to be too proud. Okay, you go ahead and be proud if you want to. Don't start crying at the end of the week talking about you got a cell phone bill you got to pay, or you got your light bill, or your rent is coming up, and girl, I want to get this shoe, and your child support ain't coming. You know how you think when you need some money, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But we ain't going to go to the Diddy trial today. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go to the Diddy trial. It's real interesting, I will touch up on that another day, because the people we actually thought, hey, Monica, what's up? That people we actually thought that was going to testify didn't testify or not going to testify. They should be up there showboating on social media, trying to make a stunt just to get some attention, just to get some publicity, just to get somebody to call them and pay them for an interview because they broke. You know how that go. When somebody's being sued or something, they got money, everybody that want to come out the woodwork and claim they was done wrong. That's how it is in the entertainment world, That's why, I'm going to say it's fortunate for me that I'm not rich. I'm going to say that again. It's fortunate. I am fortunate that I am not rich. Why? Because when you rich, it brings the people around you, it brings a certain character out of them that they didn't even know that was hidden. You know what I'm saying? And then the betrayal happened. Because people, when you start getting money, people start counting your money. Because it go from just you doing your thing to we doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? And when you buy stuff, they expected you to buy them stuff because they watching your money. Yo, you could afford that. Like, yo, man, you see what Jay-Z? Yo, man, you's a billionaire. You deny me $4,500. Why you counting my money? You know what I'm saying? You count your money. That's why you ain't got $4,500, because you too busy spending your energy counting my money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, money is the root of all evil. That's why I say it's fortunate. Can you imagine being a billionaire or millionaire and you're a celebrity? You can't even walk to the corner store. Matter of fact, where you live, they don't even have a corner store. But you can't even go back to the place that you grew up. Everybody remember the memories when they grew up, when they was a kid having fun outside. You can't even go around that neighborhood no more because you're a millionaire. You rich. You're a celebrity. That's hurtful. Then you don't know who to trust around you because everybody's a yes man. Nobody wants to tell you the truth. That's a hell of a life, man. Y'all can keep that. I'm good where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I got a family, my children. I'm happy. I got my animals, my cat, my dogs. I can walk. I get on my bike, go where I please, go outside and walk down the block, put AirPods on my head if I want, and nobody will bother me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't rich, but my money respected. You know what I mean? So let's get right into it. Today's show is very interesting. It's very interesting. Got a good show for y'all. Yeah, I feel the same. There you go, Monica. Thank you. Like I said, I got a good show for y'all. Let's talk about the Tory Lanez situation, the case, the attempt on his life. You know, I haven't really focused on it too much when the incident first happened. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, I caught a little bit of it, and it seemed like it was a big love affair. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like shied away from it, but I knew at the end of his trial, after he lost, the father made a statement and was saying that it was a conspiracy against Tory Lanez. He was saying that it was a conspiracy against him that was aimed towards him coming from his own personal attorney who set him up allegedly to be found guilty. We are going to get into that. The setup attempt by the Roc Nation and Live Nation, which is together, which you don't really hear too much about Live Nation, but we will get into that. And the setup that was aimed towards him from Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, and Megan Thee Stallion, and Keesley Johnson, which is her best friend. So I had to do a lot of research into this because, you know, like I said, when it first happened, I wasn't really too much into it, but I did hear a little bit of here and there. First, I heard Megan Thee Stallion got shot in the foot. Then I heard, you know, it was bullet fragments. She really didn't get shot in the foot. The bullet fragments hit her in the foot from the ground. So technically, no one aimed a gun directly at her foot and pulled the trigger. This is what was being said. These are different things that I've been hearing. I heard that she had sexual relationship with Tory Lanez. She denied it on Gayle King's show. We're going to talk about all of this, right? You know, what I notice about the industry now, you know, we bring it up with Tory Lanez now after the Diddy, you know, Sean Carter alleged lawsuit, not alleged, but the lawsuit that was dismissed. We got, you know, you got a lot of people like Bill Cosby. It seems like in the industry, in the entertainment world, where a man does something wrong, right, to a woman or rubs her the wrong way that she doesn't like, and she wants to call 911 or put in a lawsuit, especially if he's a celebrity. The first two things she point out that I noticed that all these women do is say that he's verbally abusive and physically abusive. Those are the two main things you always hear in a celebrity breakup. When a woman decides she wants a divorce from her husband, that's the first thing. He's abusive. And then they paint a whole bad picture of him. You know, they say he's a cheater. You know, so it gets, the media gears up and get all these accusations, and they attack this black man, or any man for that matter, because I've seen this happen to white men too, but not as much as black men. And they attack this man, and people pull away from him. You know, it seems like you can't really do anything to a woman now, because the first thing they'll say is you're abusive, especially if you're a celebrity. And now they're looking for money. Like right now with Diddy, everybody all of a sudden now is looking for money. Dawn Richards, she took the stand. Why? Because she has a lawsuit that's pending as a 1983 against Diddy for assault and sexual assault. She was only on the stand for Cassie's court case for 5 minutes. You don't need her. But this is what I'm saying. People looking for money. So they want to play all the blame game and point the fingers. It's very hard for me to believe that all of these women that's making these claims are innocent. They be there for years. And they stay with the man through the abuse. Now, I get it. I hear this too. Oh, it's trauma. Most women stay in an abusive relationship and so forth and so forth. My thing is, it's a two-way street. You can't be in an abusive relationship with just one man. I mean, in an abusive relationship with this one person, right? And you don't take no accountability. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, understand most women or some women are afraid to break away. But you have some women that wear their heart on their sleeve and make the choice without force to stay in an abusive relationship. Now, my question to you is, when a woman makes that decision and it continuously happens, do she has a right to put in a lawsuit after making that decision? It's just a question. Put it in the comments. So now let's get right into it. So Tory Lanez, born in Canada. We all know the story about him and Megan Thee Stallion in this relation. But first, before I get into that, I want to say something. Because the father mentioned Live Nation. He mentioned Roc Nation. Don't you notice in the entertainment world that when one always has an issue with their management, with their promotion, with concert Ticketmaster sales, anything that's involved in the entertainment world, put it like that, they always point the finger at Roc Nation. Don't you notice that's kind of weird? And I was like, Jay-Z got that much power? I don't see white people giving a black man that much power, because that black man can wake up and turn against them and open the key and unlock the ignorant lock around his people's mind and freedom. One man can do that. Look what Jesus did. Look what Prophet Muhammad did. Look what Malcolm did. Look what Elijah did. It only takes one person, right? So I said, well, what's up with Roc Nation? What is, why do every time I turn around I always hear Jay-Z mouth? And Rihanna is signed to Roc Nation, right? When she had the incident with Chris Brown. Okay, follow me for a second. I want you to follow me for a minute. You know, one thing I notice about white folks, right? They want to be the gatekeepers around the black gatekeepers. They always want to oversee. It's like on the plantation, nothing really changes. It's just the environment, but not the mentality and not the tactics. And white folks will see some investment in a black person, right? That they know that they can't utilize without that person's permission, because that person is the gateway to success for them, right? Only celebrities do that. Stay all that time and file a lawsuit, y'all. Only celebrities, you're right. Only celebrities do that. They stay in an abusive relationship all that time. Then when it's time for divorce or their separation, here come a lawsuit, and then there's a settlement, that's an element. And when you broke, then we don't put up with that. We just leave. We may stay in an abusive relationship a little bit, or we may leave. Or the woman may get so fed up, and you may get cut. You may get stabbed. You know what I'm saying? Put it like this: at the end of the day, before the breakup actually happened, police gonna be coming to that apartment. That's how broke people move, and somebody's going to jail. There's a restraining order and so forth. So now, like I was saying, so, white folks, they see us, and like I said, we're the gatekeepers to their success. It's like when you was watching Straight Outta Compton. Remember when Eazy-E was the first one to actually revolutionize and being independent in the music world by selling his tapes outside his car, the trunk of his car. Nobody wasn't doing that. He was like, yo, we could sell out, because nobody was interested in rap around that time. I mean, on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it was a little bit different. You had some people that were signed, but they wasn't making big money. They wasn't rich. They wasn't making big blockbuster videos. They was still, some of them had 2 or 3 albums like LL, and he was still living with his grandmother. You know what I'm saying? So music wasn't that big at that time. Plus you had the white gatekeepers in New York City on the East Coast. They was moving the music. So on the West Coast, they didn't have that. They didn't take an interest to the West Coast or the South, because everything was New York. So Eazy-E, as you see in the movie, after selling his cassette tapes out of the trunk, you saw Jerry Heller get up and enters the warehouse where Eazy-E is making, hold on. Now, you've seen in the movie Straight Outta Compton, Eazy-E is in the warehouse and he's making tapes. Now, here comes this Jewish guy, Jerry Heller, Caucasian. He say, hey, I like what you're doing, because they've been watching him and they've been watching him make money. They've been watching him move this music, because nobody was moving no gangster music like that. So Eazy-E caught a big attention. And then he came in and said, we like what you're doing, man. I think what you got here is special. What they really saying is, what you got, I can eat off if you can help me move it the right way. I know you don't got the resources. I know you don't got the money. I know you don't got the power, and you damn sure don't have the complexion, but I do. So you help me help you, and I will benefit more than you benefit. That's how they move. So, you know, they decided to manipulate Jay-Z, I'm gonna say allegedly, to get away from Dame Dash. Because you see, Dame Dash was the type of dude that, don't get me wrong, he says his thing on social media. We all say he's bugging out, but sometimes you really have to listen to what he's actually saying. Yeah, always want to benefit off of us. You're right, Lethal Seduction, always. If they can't benefit off us, they have no civilization. That's why they're in Africa right now. Because I was telling somebody this earlier today. That's how I was telling my wife. I said, if they remove themselves from Africa, it would shift the balance from the Western world to our world. And they can't have that. They can't live without us. I don't care which, even through racism, they couldn't live without us. Because who gonna work? Who gonna build for them? They don't want to do it. They lazy. They rather do it by force and have people slave or do slave labor work for them in order to be successful. So they tells Jay-Z, you know, and this one I was shocked, which I shouldn't have been shocked. It told Jay, and Jay-Z, this was out of Jay-Z mouth. He said, they told him, if you sell your shares of Rockefeller and we could take Rockefeller, we will give you all your masters. So everything that he did, Jay-Z, all those albums under Rockefeller, he never owned the publishing rights or the masters. Check that out. This is how smart Jay-Z was. Check it out. Dame and Biggs made him sign a certain contract where he had to relieve all of that. So, well, actually under Def Jam, because that was the parental label. The only publishing right that Jay-Z didn't have that was under Rockefeller as well was Reasonable Doubt, his first album, because Biggs and Dame had those publishing rights and masters. So they wanted him to get him away from Rockefeller so he could actually do his thing over here and they could just take it over. Because black people was taking over in the music world. We was getting record labels left and right. We started getting clothing lines up. This become a threat to white power. You notice all the black clothing lines had kind of disappeared now, right? We wearing everybody else's clothing but our own. You notice that. What about all the record labels? What happened to those? They killed it. You was getting too powerful. It killed that game. So now, they know these goddamn record labels popping up everywhere. As soon as we get an album, we can get a hit song. Yo, I'm coming on my new record label. You know what I'm saying? So Jay-Z decided, according to him, he says he approached Dame and Biggs and say, yo, listen, give me Reasonable Doubt, and I won't sign my shares. Like, yo, you bugging, man. You wilding, but they didn't take him serious, right? He signed his shares over. They bought Biggs and Dame out because they had more of the shares of Rockefeller. Dame and them was like, oh, yeah, they got paid, but you forced their hand. So Jay-Z demoted himself from a CEO to a president for another record label? That sounds right to you? You see the bull crap? They manipulated him. Now they gave him all his rights. Except Reasonable Doubt. They gave him all his publishing. They gave him all his masters because he's working with his former slave masters against his brothers, who he called his partners. That didn't work out. But they know the name Sean Carter and they know his face will bring money. You saw that the Barclay, but a lot of you thought he owns the Barclay. I mean, not the Barclay Center. No, he didn't. They played the manipulation game. They went in the press and they say Jay-Z's building a Barclay, and you thought it was Jay-Z's, and all he had was some shares. Once they built it and he got his money out of there, it was time to go. They used his face. The same thing they doing with Roc Nation. He started Roc Nation. But he partnered up with Live Nation. See, you always hear about Roc Nation, but you don't hear about Live Nation. Who is Live Nation? Live Nation is the #1 slave masters of the music world. They're the slave masters. And they tagged Jay-Z. That's the house Negro. And I'm not saying that he's a house Negro as a sellout. I mean, he's a house Negro because he's an overseer. Whatever needs to be done, they go send Jay-Z. When they mention something wrong, they don't say Live Nation. They don't mention those Jews. They don't mention those Italians. They mention Jay-Z because they put him out in the front for all the problems. Now, who's Live Nation? Let's talk about it. Because we get into Tory Lanez. We get into Tory Lanez. We get into Megan Stallion. We're going to get to all of that. Okay. So Live Nation, right? Live Nation Entertainment is a major player in the live entertainment industry and controls a wide range of operations related to live events. Here's a breakdown of what Live Nation controls. And this is under the influence through Roc Nation. So we're talking about hip hop. We're talking about R&B. We're talking about country music, all the above. Concert promotion. This is what they control. Live Nation concerts. So you hear Roc Nation is throwing a concert. See how strong they are? Okay. Promotes over 40,000 shows per year globally. That's damn. That's powerful. It owns or operates major concert venues and works with many of the biggest artists. Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Drake, Rihanna. A lot of big, powerful, big. They even had Chris Brown at one point. Right? They had Meek Mills at one point. You see the people that they have, and it's so big? Okay. Bear with me here. Merchandise and VIP packages. Offers artists merchandise, fan experiences, and exclusive ticket packages, often through partnerships or in-house services. Artist management, Roc Nation partnership, etc. While not directly managing all artists, Live Nation has strategic deals and partnership with artists and managers. Some artists have long-term touring or promotion deals with Live Nation, YouTube, and Madonna. So see, when you hear, oh my God, Beyonce ticket is like $1,100. Like, what are they doing? And people is buying it because Roc Nation and Live Nation is promoting it. They're the most powerful management and tour companies in this country. Okay. See, they already got Taylor Swift, Drake, they got YouTube, and they got Madonna. Look, these is big heavyweights. Okay. Ticketmasters, check that out. Ticketmaster, a subsidiary of Live Nation, is one of the largest ticketing platforms globally. Control ticket sales for concerts, sports events, theaters, and other live entertainment. Ticketmaster also provides services like dynamic pricing, resale, VIP experiences. VIP experiences. Okay. Venue ownership and operations. Live Nation owns or operates over 300 venues worldwide, including amphitheaters, clubs, theaters, and House of Blues, Fillmore. It controls ticketing, concessions, and sponsorships in many other, in many of these venues. Man, it's like they own the whole music industry and sports events, right? Okay. All right. Because we not done. Oh, yeah, we not done. We not done. We not done. You're getting some more stuff here, what they got going on. But hearing that, okay, so, before I go into hearing that, so Live Nation, we already know they controls the promotion of live concerts. So when you hear about Beyonce and all of them, you see, and they say, oh, Beyonce tickets is not selling. And next thing you know, you see the videos and the pictures and the arena is packed. It's because Roc Nation and Live Nation, they're great at them. They could promote a bum. They'll do a show and it will sell out. They control it. They control everything, the shirts, everything that's going on in this country when it comes to entertainment, that's theirs. And all of their artists and whoever they manage belongs to them. And if you get involved, they'll try to cross them, especially in their pockets, they're coming after you. So they control the promotions of live events, venue operation, ticket sales, artist deals, sponsorship, marketing, VIP, and merchandise services, right? All right. All right. So, all right, hold on a second. These are some very powerful people. All right, you know what? All right, I'm gonna skip that. So, after what I read, now you can see why when Rihanna was going through what she was going through with Chris Brown, you see how the tables turned on Chris, because they also control, they also have influence over the media and politicians and lawyers and judges and prosecutors. This is a big, because when you have the Republican Party and the Democrat Party getting ready to do their thing, they call Roc Nation and Live Nation to promote sales, to situate their tour as far as speaking. They set things up. These people are powerful. Now, like I said, you see when Chris Brown got into his situation with Rihanna, they had a fight. But Chris at this time was not with Roc Nation. Rihanna was. We all know that. She was right up under Jay. And some white boys found her in her country. And allegedly they spent 24 hours with her in the studio or whatever the case may be, and making some music. And then they brought her over here to this country. I'm not saying she did anything funny for the money, but that's what happened. I'm just laying it out for you. So when that situation happened, record sales will be affected because people's careers on the line. They had a domestic dispute. So automatically, in order to keep Rihanna, who was more promising, they started to use the media against Chris Brown, and Chris Brown became the abusive boyfriend. Never mind that when he took a mugshot, his face was swollen and scratched up, and he had bruises, just like Rihanna. But they twisted it and made him the victim to save Rihanna's career. How many of those other artists that they have done that to? When every time they get into a dispute with Roc Nation or Live Nation or someone that's signed to them, the person that has a dispute with them, they feel the short end of the stick. Because Live Nation and Roc Nation, they try not to afford to lose money dealing with any of their big artists who's pulling in billions and millions and billions of dollars for them. They say there's no money in the music industry. No, it's no money in the music industry for artists. As long as people like Roc Nation and Live Nation has control, they're sucking these artists dry. When you get signed, you're already in debt. And Tory Lanez, he knew this. He knew this. He got in a situation with Megan Thee Stallion, right? But prior to that, Tory Lanez, he was smart, street guy. He had his little run-ins with the law, but nothing too serious where he can get prison time. But he's a smart man, very smart and intelligent. And his contract, he wasn't satisfied with it. He wasn't satisfied with his contract at Interscope Records, and he wanted to leave the record company. I'm assuming that maybe when they presented him the contract, he was hungry, he was thirsty, he wanted to get out there. They put a particular type of amount of money in front of his face, and without him reading the contract, he signed it, he got his little check, and did his album. It shot, it went up, he started touring, he started making, and he started to get more educated about the music industry. So after that, he decided to go relook into his contract. Wasn't happy at all. And he wanted out of his contract. At the same time, he was dealing with Megan, which we didn't know at the time. It took some fight because, record labels, when they know that you're a good artist and they know that you can make them a lot of money, they try to hold you. They'll fight you tooth and nail. They'll call all kinds of lawyers and try to just drown you into financial debt with legal fees just to hold you. You know what I'm saying? But Tory was a smart man. You can drown him because he was also independent. He was doing things outside of just him being behind the mic. He was also writing. He was also, producing. He was doing a lot of different things to make money. So they knew that. So he was able to finance his fight against Interscope, in which he won and he got out of his contract. Now he's independent. Now Tory is figuring out, I could do things without any label now. He's trying to figure out how can he make money independent, because we all tried it. We all sold CDs out the car. We sold cassette tapes out the car. We started streaming. And in streaming, that wasn't working because Snoop said he sold 1 billion streams and all he made was $40,000. So who made the real money? Let's talk about who made the real money. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, there's no money in hip hop or music for any artist anymore. Maybe for the record labels, or maybe if for the artists to go out there on tour and get money. But guess what? You still got a middleman. So Tory, he came up with something. Listen to this. I want you to listen to this. $1. Hold on. He said $1
for the NFTs, right? I sold these shits to my fans for $1. People came. Some people bought 20. Some people bought 5. Some people bought 60. It doesn't matter how much you bought. It was only $1. You spent $60. You bought 60. I need y'all to understand. One of those copies right now is going for 50,000, 60,000, 60,000. Yo, my nigga, and these are sold. They're sold. Go look at the list right now and see how small the sellers list is getting. Y'all don't understand what the fuck is going on? Y'all don't understand I just cracked the fucking industry? Y'all don't understand I just cracked this shit? I just cracked this whole shit. It's cracked. It's over. I cracked the whole shit. It's over. It's over. No more middleman. All y'all artists out there, fuck your label. Fuck the nigga that's telling you, yo, you gotta wait for this day on Spotify and on this. Fuck that. Nigga, it's over. Y'all gonna get paid, and your fans gonna get paid, and they gonna keep coming to you. Why? Because y'all making money together.
Talk to me. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? He said that he cracked the code, right? Trying to find it for y'all. He said he cracked the code. Hold on a second. Because I want to actually find the breakdown of this. But Tory Lanez, he said he cracked the code. He at this time, this was before his case with involving Megan Thee Stallion, right? So he's saying he cracked the code because he actually dropped the album, right? On on digital on the internet called NFT, right? It's a non-refutable, it's like a non-refutable technology where you can actually sell your stuff on the internet for whatever price you want to sell. And you own the masses, you own the publishing, you own everything. And you set the price of what you want to set. Now, he dropped that album called It's Dark, I believe, right? If I'm correct. I know it's and the end is dark. I think it's dark, I believe. Right? I don't listen too much to Tory like that. I like a few of his songs. I'm not a hater. He's very good and talented. I just don't buy and listen to all his stuff. But he dropped this album, right? On the internet through NFT. And what he did was, unlike the record labels selling you the album for $15, right? And the artist will only get 10 cents. What he did was he cut the distribution companies out. He cut the record label out. He cut the promotional out. He cut everything out. And he sold it on his own. And you would get he would get the direct money by selling it to you. So what he did was he made the album and he sold that album at a certain amount of time for $1. Now, once you buy the album, you can resell the album and you get money. That's why he said, you and your artists, you and your fans will get money together. Now imagine, you think Roc Nation likes that? Do you think Roc Nation likes that? Do you think all these record labels and distribution companies that's ran by Caucasian Jews like that? They said less than 1 minute. Do you know how much 1 minute is? 1 minute is 60 seconds. Tory Lanez sold 1 million copies of that album less than 1 minute for $1, which means he made $1 million less than 60 seconds. God damn. Straight to the neck. All him. No manager, no personal manager. It was just him in the laptop or just him in the studio. Now, here's a more breakdown for you what NFT is. The NFT, they have something called blockchain based, right? The NFT's details like ownership, transaction history, and the metadata are stored on a public ledger. Blockchain making it secure and transparent. So you can't hack this. Once he uploaded all that, I'm gonna hack it and I'm gonna go on this stream and I'm gonna download it from my Spotify and then I'm gonna go, no, it ain't going down like that. You gotta pay for that, buddy. So he's gonna make sure you don't get it. And when you do get it and you listen to it, I'm gonna resell it for $5. You already bought it for $1 or you can sell it for $10 or however you want, but you're making money too. This is what Tory's doing, right? Digital ownership. Buying an NFT means you own the viable version of the digital item, the kind of like owning a signed print of a famous artwork. It's like the Mona Lisa. Once you buy it, it's all yours. Nobody can take it. Nobody can put their name on it, right? And this is what he's doing. So he already has his own masters, his own publishing, his own everything with his name on it. Nobody can hack it. Nobody can take it. Nobody can do nothing with it. And he's a mega star. Well, not mega star compared to Megan at that time, but he's a rising star. To me, he's a bigger financial star than Megan. I would say that. Talk back to me. Look, in music, like Tory, artists can sell albums, songs, or concert tickets. Listen now, as NFT. So Tory, when he dropped this album, he sold all that money to the net. Whatever promotions he put out and they bought, he got that money to the neck. When it was time for him to do shows, he booked his own tickets. And whatever he wanted to do, whatever ticket master, he give them a percentage. He's the boss. He run things. This is what he was doing. You think Live Nation like that? You think Roc Nation like that? You think all these Caucasian record labels like that? You think all these managers and personal managers and ticket masters, and a lot of them that work for them like that? No, because what he was doing, he was changing the whole music game. That's why he said, I cracked the code. He was going to put a whole lot of people out of business. They said, we got to get this nigga out of here. That's what they said. Now, fans buy them. Listen, they said, it goes on. Fans buy them to get exclusive access, limited edition content, or even profit from resales. These are the fans that's getting money now. Ain't this some? This is different. Normally, it just be the artists and the distribution company and the record labels getting money. Now, Tory changed the game where he said, no, me and the fans, the artists and the fans, we gonna get money. We don't need them. He was changing something. He was making history. He was a big goddamn threat to white supremacy when it comes to the entertainment world. You see why when the Super Bowl, when it went to New Orleans, you remember that you had the rumors? You said, yeah, people were trying to get Lil Wayne, but Jay-Z stepped in and said, no, I want Kendrick. How would you do that? Or was it Jay-Z, or was it his former slave master said, no, go get Kendrick? Because they had the power to pull whoever they want. Remember when Eminem, Dr. Dre, and Snoop did the Super Bowl? I believe a year before that, 2 years before that. They was like, yeah, we're going to get 50. Jay-Z said, no, we don't want 50. Eminem and Dr. Dre said, well, we're not doing the show if 50 can't come here. That's how you saw 50 on the Super Bowl, performing, all out of shape. But he was there. You see, this is the power Live Nation has. So Tory Lanez, he's changing something. Y'all all right out there? Okay, I hope y'all all right. You know, we're going to get into it some more. Trying to find some more with this. Because like I said, you know, Tory Lanez, man, he was changing the whole game. I want you to hear what he said again. Please, just pay attention. Just listen to this.
$1 for the NFTs, right? I sold these shits to my fans for $1. People came, some people bought 20, some people bought 5, some people bought 60. It doesn't matter how much you bought. It was only $1. You spent $60, you bought 60. I need y'all to understand. One of those copies right now is going for 50,000, 60,000, 60,000. Yo, my nigga, and these are sold. They're sold. Go look at the list right now and see how small the sellers list is getting. Y'all don't understand what the fuck is going on? Y'all don't understand I just cracked the fucking industry? Y'all don't understand I just cracked this shit? I just cracked this whole shit. It's cracked. It's over. I cracked the whole shit. It's over. It's over. No more middleman. All y'all artists out there, fuck your label. Fuck the nigga that's telling you, yo, you gotta wait for this day on Spotify and on this. Fuck that. Nigga, it's over. Y'all gonna get paid, and your fans gonna get paid, and they gonna keep coming to you. Why? Because y'all making money together.
So he cracked the code. They can't have him out there. What? Have Tory Lanez out there? Are you crazy? Yeah, can't have him out there. He's a threat. Now we're gonna get into his case, right? So as time go on, he's also on the internet and he's making a whole lot of money. He's getting people to interact with him. He's doing the phenomenal. And he's really shaking a lot of feathers. There's a lot of big heads is upset with him because he's changing the game and people are starting to pick up on it and people starting to do it now. A lot of people are starting to go back onto the internet and it's starting to be more independent. So one night, Tory, Kelsey Johnson, who was best friend with Megan Thee Stallion, they said they was at a party. According to Megan Thee Stallion on the Gayle King interview, she said that they was at a party. They was enjoying themselves. They was drinking, you know, and you know how it goes during the night. And you should see her on her interview. Oh man, she acts so innocent. But you know how when women want to do fake tears and they be like, man, but you don't see nothing dropping. That's what I was seeing when she was doing the interview, right? And then she was lying, and you could see it. So she said they were arguing. She didn't want to say names, but she pretty much said Tory names because he's the only guy that's excuse me, he wasn't the only guy, it was the security guard that was also driving. But Tory and Kelsey is in the back, according to Megan, and she's in the front, and they're arguing, right? So Gail is like, they're really arguing, it's getting that nasty, and she's like, yeah, they're screaming, and it's getting more intense, and I'm like, oh, I just want to get out the car. I just want to leave. This is what she's saying, right? I don't know how she feels like that because according to Megan, she's from the hood. And I'm pretty sure growing up in the hood, you always saw people arguing loud, cursing loud. Nobody's running, nobody's ducking. The only time people is running and ducking is when the gun come out. So I don't know what she's talking about. She ready to get out the car, it's getting crazy because they yelling. Okay, that's what she said. Fine, I ain't gonna take nothing from her. Maybe so. Maybe, you know, she got a little bougie now. So the car stops for whatever apparent reason. They all three get out, right? Security gets out. Hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Come on, stop playing now. Hit that subscribe button. You just sitting there listening to me, and you ain't hitting the like button. You ain't hitting the subscribe button. You ain't hitting the share button. Come on, show me some love. And so they're arguing, and eventually a gun comes out, right? This is what Megan says, right? She says her best friend and Tory is arguing, and a gun comes out. And next thing you know, Megan says she heard the gunshot. She didn't even know where the gunshot was coming from. So she says, you in a suburban area, you got money, you're not in the hood. You come out of the car 2, 3 in the morning in a suburban neighborhood where people got money. There's nobody outside but you and the other 3. And a gunfire goes off and you don't know where it came from. Like, who you think you're talking to? Let's be for real here. You know exactly where the gunfire came from. According to Megan, she got shot in the foot. She said shot. Shot means somebody takes a gun out, pointing directly at you, fire, and the bullet hits you. That's getting shot. Not grazed, not ricochet, that's not shot. Okay? She automatically, she felt her foot get numb. She saw all this blood. She said, oh my God, I'm shot. She's scared. She said she heard more gunfire. She don't know where it came from. And then the next thing you know, somebody called the police. This is a statement of where she said that Gail came, right? So I'm pretty sure she said the same thing on the stand, or maybe she changed it, but I'm going by what she said on Gail King because this is out of her mouth. I can actually see her actually making a statement or testifying on national TV. So I want to see that. She said afterwards, when the police came, she was scared because she said, oh my God, I don't want to get shot and killed by the police because they here. And she said this, you know, the George Floyd situation just happened. Here comes sympathy role. George Floyd situation just happened, and then she's scared, and the police are gonna kill all of them. Meanwhile, she allegedly to be shot in the foot, but yet police is gonna kill her for being shot. This is what she's trying to tell Gail King, and for us to really believe that she's from the hood. Hey, this is what she said. She been lying all this time, shaking my head just for the fame. Yeah, just for the fame, because you know her album was flopping. Megan was going out. Don't get me wrong, she's an attractive female. She had a little 1, 2, 3 songs that was popping, you know, and she had a good features. She grew her sexuality in, mostly her body for us to be attracted to and get attention to. Like a lot of the females nowadays in hip hop, because they're being persuaded to do that. Some of them want to do it because they know that's the fame, that's the attention they're going to get. Because the average man, when they see a female that's good looking, the first thing they're going to look at is their body before their mind, because you're not going to know what's in their mind, but you're going to see the body first. You do outside of clothes or inside clothes, you know what I mean? So she says, the police come, they call the ambulance and everything. And then she goes to the hospital and she's crying. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe he shot me. Now she's saying he shot me. This is what she's saying. She's saying he shot me. I can't believe it. Like, oh my God. So now Gail jumps right in on it. What do you mean he shot you? You mean Tory? Because she want him to say his name. She said, yes. I can't believe he shot me. He said, yo, I'm sorry. Yo, don't worry about it. Please don't say nothing. And I'm like, wow, he's so selfish. He worrying about himself at this time right now while I'm bleeding to death. Yo, you got fragments, man. Now, from the other story I heard, well, we're going to keep going. So, of course, Tory gets locked up. And actually, Gail asked her as well, did you have a relationship with Tory Lanez? She said, yeah, we had a relationship. We was friends. I just lost my mother, and then he just lost his mother after me. So that made us get close. And then, but Gail was like, you could tell Gail was like, yeah. But she was like, wait, what I'm saying is, did you have an intimate relationship? She paused for a second. Then she said, what do you mean intimate, like a sexual relationship? Gail gave her the look. You have to see it. Brothers and sisters, y'all know how black people get that look. Gail gave her the look like, child, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If I say intimate relationship, I ain't talking about no friendship. She said, you sexual relationship? She said, yeah, sexual relationship. Again, she paused. Then she said, no, we never had a sexual relationship. But as about a year or two later, she got caught being recorded saying, girl, she threw me off with that one. I ain't want to say what I said. Yeah, I smashed them like once or twice. She already admitted she already had sexual relationship with Tory Lanez at that present time. Right? Okay. Tory gets locked up. He gets bailed out. But Megan Thee Stallion is signed to Roc Nation. See, here we go. So Roc Nation at this time is looking at Megan Thee Stallion as their money card, as their money bag, because at this time, Megan's career was dying a little bit, but she still had a little spark. She still had a little tension. And then she started playing, I was abused type thing at that night. She played the woman's victim role, and Live Nation, they spun it because they have associates in the media. They know how to spin it. They have associates in the entertainment world. They know how to spin it. So they made Tory look like the villain. They made him look like the villain. He gets arrested. They don't dust the gun for Prince. Hold on, let me see. I hit that like button. Yes. Thank you, Lethal Seduction. They don't dust the gun for Prince, which is very odd, because every time a person gets shot, that's exactly what they do, especially if they come and they only find a gun on the floor, but they got different people that's in the area. Somebody had the gun, right? They had blood on the gun, unknown blood. They didn't test anybody else for DNA. No, matter of fact, they did with Tory Lanez. His blood is not a match on the gun, nor is his DNA on the gun, holding the gun to fire the gun. This is really interesting. So he goes to court and he faces, and he's on trial. Come to find out, his defense attorney has also worked and has relationship, close ties to Live Nation and Roc Nation. Oh my God, conflict of interest. So this is why Tory was saying, yo, my lawyer's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. I want to know what's going on. But his lawyer keep giving the excuses like the judge is saying this, the judge is saying that, the prosecutor is saying this, the prosecutor is saying that. Then they was hiding evidence from him, and his defense attorney was saying, hey, they don't have anything. But he knew they had hidden evidence. That's why it's all coming up now about all this unknown DNA stuff, right? So now Kelsey is saying that Tory shot Megan, but Kelsey was really in the front seat. But Megan said they was in the back arguing. Kelsey was in the front seat, and it was Tory and Megan in the back seat. Right? Okay. Now, Tory's in jail. He's in jail. He's doing his time, financially hurt. But, of course, Chris Brown comes to save him. By the way, shout out to Chris Brown, free Chris Brown. I see they got him locked up in the UK. That was also a setup, because they allowed him to leave the country. They said they told him, don't leave. I don't believe that. Chris is not going to jeopardize his career, because ever since the Rihanna situation happened, you have not heard one thing negative about Chris Brown besides maybe a little fist fight or something. But Chris don't get into anything. He take care of his daughter. That just changed his whole mindset. He's not going to go to the UK and commit a crime and they'll go catch a warrant knowing he has a family of children back at home. I'm sure they told him, nah, you all right, you okay. When you come back, we'll figure it out. Not knowing he wasn't supposed to leave the country. They had that set up. Now he's there and he's locked up without bail because they saying he's a flight risk because he left the country. See how they do us? Because, Chris, he was also donating money to, Tory Lanez. He was also let R. Kelly have a spot on his album, which was so, well, actually not album, his song. What is it? Residue, I believe. They don't like that. He's a problem. You go in there and like Roc Nation. And R. Kelly was talking about Roc Nation. You see where he at? You see where he at? So now, new evidence comes up. So now that new evidence comes up, the bodyguard who testified saying that, the ladies didn't have the gun, that it was Chris, he's actually now changing his testimony. Why you think is that? Me personally, my opinion, I believe that after years now has passed and everybody seemed to forget about Tory and the case died down, the money ran out. He wasn't getting no money no more. Or he got paid and the money ran out and he was asking for some more. Sorry, well now I'm going to change my testimony. The same way they did to Diddy with Sean. First they were saying Diddy did it. As soon as Diddy stopped putting money in their pocket, they start saying Sean did it. You see how that go? You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's a cruel world. Money, man. Money is, it's, man. The American dollar is the root of all evil. I say that. I won't say money. You could do some real positive stuff with it, but I don't understand why they say it's the root of all evil, because when you're doing evil, basically that's what the evil is for, money, right? So now the security guard is saying, no, I'm telling you the real story. Kelsey had the gun, and Kelsey and Megan was arguing because Tory was smashing both of them, and they had an argument, and they was fighting. And Kelsey pulled out the gun because Kelsey was sitting in the passenger seat. According to court documents, I'm going to get into the proof. And when they got out, this is not what the security guard saying. When they got out, Kelsey pulled out the gun and Megan grabbed it. And they was tussling. And Tory's like, chill, be easy, calm down. The security, of course, he's like, let the ladies do their thing. He ain't getting involved in that. The gun went off twice, he said. Bang, bang, bang. No, 3 times. And then after they kept tussling, and Tory went to go in between them, but the gun dropped and went off twice. Bang, bang. And then Megan said, I'm hit. She got hit by a ricochet. The police come. Of course, the people that's behind Megan Thee Stallion knows that Tory Lanez lives by a strict code. No snitching. That's why you haven't heard his story about what happened that night, because he ain't putting nobody in jail. Like, nah, I don't know what happened. The gun just fell in the fire. Who had the gun? He like this. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He ain't telling. He lived by code. It is insane. It is insane. Mine gets crazy. So now he's going through the whole process, and everybody is against Megan at this point, right? They don't really know the story in the beginning once the shooting happened. But it had turned the tables because Tory sent her a recording saying, "Yo, listen, this is my fault. It shouldn't have went down like that. Like it shouldn't have went down like that night." But they soundbited the message and they made it seem like he was talking about it was his fault. But what he was talking about really was, he was thinking with his little head, and it shouldn't have went down the way it went down, and he violated, and I'm gonna support you. They took it and they spun it, and it made it seem like he was the guilty one in the media. And now by the time he went to court, his jury already had a decision. She been quiet. Yeah, you notice that. She been quiet lately. With all the new evidence come out, she ain't saying nothing now. Especially since her album is suffering. What can she say? What can she say? Because now the evidence is there. Because now that the bodyguard stepped up and said, "Yo, I can't live it too long," and he decided to do that after Tory Lanez got stabbed up. Excuse me, it wasn't before Tory, it was after Tory Lanez got stabbed up. Because Tory and his lawyer, they found new evidence where their defense attorney and the prosecutors was hiding the evidence when it came to the DNA. Because DNA was already taken. His DNA do not match the blood on the gun. So whose DNA is that? Whose fingerprints is that? His fingerprints is not on the gun. They already took his DNA. They already took his fingerprints. So who fingerprints and who gun? I mean, one person I'm pretty sure didn't shoot himself. So it had to be two hands on that gun. Oh, man. Nice shirt, King. Looking really handsome, lady. Thank you, boss lady. Thank you. I try to do my best. I'm trying to catch up with these young boys a little bit. You know what I mean? So Tory decided to send an affidavit about these claims, and he wanted their signatures. Megan responded. Kelsey, she didn't. Next thing you know, Tory is going wherever he's going. He's in jail, he's doing his thing, you know what I mean? And he gets stabbed up. He gets stabbed up 14 times from a Mexican, right? A Mexican who has natural life for murder. Some say he's in a Mexican gang. Some say he's regular Mexican dude that's affiliated with gangs. Some say he's in the Mexican mafia. Now let's think about this for a second. You know why I know this is a hit? Tory Lanez don't run the street to be connected to someone of likes like that. Tory Lanez is a multimillionaire who has a career as a musician. This dude is from a whole nother goddamn country, because he from Canada, a whole nother country, a whole nother state, and he's Mexican, so Tory Lanez is not hanging out at the Mexican community. And now this dude has natural life. You see, they have nothing connection. They have nothing going for them to bump heads. This is why you know this is a hit. See, in prison in New York City, let me tell you how it go in prison. In New York City, I could speak of, in California a little bit. Although I was never locked up there, I know people that was locked up there. I did a lot of research pertaining to California prison system, just by reading books and a whole lot of other stuff. In New York City, when you get locked up, one of the first things that you may want to do is find out where you're going and who's there. It doesn't go by, you have blood houses, some you have crip houses, but it's all segregated. It's all not in one location where everybody's living happy-go-lucky with one another. Sometimes it is depending on what building you are on Rikers Island. But when it's time to put some work in, you don't have to check in with nobody like California. Somebody violates you from Brooklyn, he blood, he crip, whatever, you get whatever you're going to get, and you make an example out of him. And you figure out the consequences later. You might get a retaliation from his crew that pop off on your crew, or you might get beat up by the COs because you got to make them right and do their jobs harder. And you just go to the box. SHU, solitary confinement, and you out the jail, which means they won't get a chance to retaliate against you. California is a little different. When you go there, all that gangbanging street stuff that you was doing in the streets with Bloods and Crips, that stops because all the blacks stick together in California. All the Mexicans stick together in California. All the whites stick together in California. The Aryan Brotherhood controls the whites, and then you have the Peckerwoods, who's plain white, who ain't down with no Aryan, no gang, but they just chill with the white side. Then you got like the Mexicans and you got the Puerto Ricans, they stick together. You can't just put no work in California and say, I'm going to hit a black because I'm Mexican. I don't like him because he got money. No, you're going to start a racial war and the jail is going to get locked down. That's how they move out there in California. So this dude that wanted to hit Tory Lanez, trust me, he didn't just get up to him like, yo, he violated and I'm putting in work. No, because if you put in work, guess what happens? You got to worry about all your peoples that you left behind. Because Tory Man's going to come out and it's going to be a whole lot of stabbing and a whole lot of killing. So you can't just jump out like that. And if you do jump out like that, and you know the rules and the regulations in California prison system, what happened is you could put your own life in danger. And due to the fact you did something stupid that caused your people to get harmed or killed, your people will kill you. You see what I'm saying? So this Mexican dude didn't just wake up one morning and tell my Tory violated me. All right, I see a whole bunch of stories in there talking about, yo, he said he wanted to F his mother. Stop lying. Hit that like button, hit that share button, please. Hit that like button. Tell a friend, tell a friend. So many believe that Roc Nation was behind the hit because Tory put in 2 appeals, right? Which was the help of Chris Brown because Tory had no more money that he had access to for him to pay his legal fees to get a reversal. He had money in Canada. He had millions, but he can't get it, only him. And I'm assuming he don't trust nobody enough to go over there and go and get his secret combination and everything and get his money because we don't know how much money he got in there. But it must be enough for the point where he don't trust nobody. Because we don't know, he got 15 million. Because you should be in jail and trust somebody for 15 million. You don't know how he's spending it? You know what I'm saying? So he like, no, man, hell no. Y'all wait till I come home. Excuse me for a second. So let me get some water here. I ain't know I was gonna be on here this long. Ooh, thank you for all the hearts, man. Somebody love me out there. So he put in 2 types of appeals. One, he put an appeal to vacate the sentence, which is a full reversal. And excuse me. If the first appeal is for him to get a full reversal and to reappear in court in order to argue a case based on new evidence that has been given to him, that has been unfolded, such as the DNA and so forth and so forth. The second appeal is like a behavioral corpus. It's pretty much a clemency, saying, hey, due to the new evidence that we received that was hindered from us and to prepare our defense, we want the case to be completely dismissed with no reappearance in court. And now you got the new evidence. You got the security who changes his testimony. in favor for Tory Lanez. My question to you is, hearing that, who would want to kill Tory? Excuse me, I gotta take a puff here. Hey, yeah, ask yourself, who would kill Tory? Listen, I got asthma. I gotta take, you don't want me dying live. You know what I'm saying? You want me to just, take my puff and live. It is what it is. So, somebody don't want Tory Lanez out. Someone knows that if he come out, they won't benefit. Someone wants to kill him so bad. It's because that he's such a big threat. Do you think it's Megan? Put it in the comments. Me personally, I don't think she's that big and that big of a star and that connected. We talking about the connection to Mexican mafia. Come on, man. You really serious? She don't got that kind of money? Well, no, I won't say she ain't got that kind of money because in prison. Thank you, my sister. Your beautiful self. Oh, damn. Okay. My sister gave me a little wine there. All right. But no. Do you think Megan will do that? I don't think so. I actually think it was Live Nation. Notice all these artists that's being, I won't say killed. I would say past being, losing their lives, leaving the earth early. These magnificent entertainers, such as Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, all these big heads that was beefing with Live Nation for their rights. Angie Stone, come on now, we know who they are. All of them that was beefing about their marketing, not their marketing, their masters and their publishing and their back money, they all died from overdose. How is this happening? How is Tory Lanez hit 14 times? First of all, when you're in prison like Tory, and Tory's a stand-up dude, I gotta give him his respect. I'm not even gonna put Tory, man. I really gotta give him his respect. You know why? Because he didn't snitch on Megan knowing that he was in the right, knowing that they was gonna end his life, his career, which is a possibility, and he still kept his mouth quiet. He got hit up 14, hold up. Then he went to jail and then signed in the PC. You know what kind of balls that is? See, when Tupac got locked up and he came to Clinton, a lot of people say, yo, they put Tupac in RPC because he was influenced. No. Don't just gas this thing up here. I've been in those mountains. I know I had moved. You saw two types of people when they saw Pac come in. You saw one that was going to extort him, and they would have ate his food if he didn't give up that money. Or two, they was going to do a friendly extortion. Friendly extortion is, don't worry about it. We got you. Anybody try to do something to you, we letting them go. All right, cool. Now you feel safe. Now you like, yo, listen, I'll make sure they eat and they protect it so they could take care of me. That's the reverse psychology, because that's the type of energy they want to put in your mind. Because if you don't understand that friendly extortion, then guess what? You're going to be checking up out of it. I don't care how tough you is, how gangster you is. There's the most gangsters people that was in the prison system got hit up. So Pac ain't nobody. Trust and believe that. But they saw how people was clapping for him, and they said, no, get him out of here, because he might be a potential to start a riot. Tory Lanez didn't have that effect. He didn't have that energy. He came in, California is a little different. They didn't care about who he was. But Tory said, no, I'm not doing PC. I'm doing population. I'm coming out as I am. This is who I was before music. I'm not changing up because now I'm supposed to be a celebrity and I got money like this and that. Hell no. My man went up in population. That's some balls. Because in California, you know how many people probably was trying to press him? He ain't even talking about it because obviously what's been going on, he haven't been running his mouth. So I'm pretty sure he had to knuckle up a few times and let dudes know who he was. Because trust and believe, when you step foot in prison, I don't care how tough you is, you're going to be tested. And if you don't know nobody, you're a celebrity like Tory, you definitely going to be tested within 24 hours. Yo, we going to store them. Tory's like, well, we going to see. Yo, we could go to the bathroom, we could go to the yard, go do whatever you want. And obviously he been living. You see him in the yard buffed up. You see him taking pictures. He got a circle around, which means he has a team. When you're in prison, everybody's clicked up. So he has a team around him. He's taking pictures. They all swole. Trust and believe, like I said, he got hit up. It's going to be answered. If it don't be answered, then that means the people around him was setting him up too. Because that's how we go in prison. There's always going to be a reaction. Well, unless your crew is punks, then you ain't gonna have no reaction. But if you standing up with some stand-up dude, which I believe Tory Lanez is around, it's gonna be a response. But I believe Roc Nation try to unalive him. You know why? Because that NFT, what he did, he made $1 million less than 60 seconds. They let him out and he continued to do that. He's going to shake the industry. Did you see what he did in behind the wall in prison with his last album? Oh my God. He had the whole industry talking. This man been in jail for about 4 years, 4 years. He ain't got no albums out. All you celebrities done dropped your albums. And as soon as your albums is out, he decided to make an album and put it out on the internet, and he became #1 in one day. He ain't have an album out in years. No promotions, no publicity, no nothing. He just made a call and said, yo, I'm dropping an album. And we ran to it. I know I did. As soon as it came out, I was like this on it. Yo, it's lit. So they can't let Tory out because he showed everybody, he showed artists how you can sell your music as NFT and cut out the record label and the distribution company and make $1 million less than $1 million a minute and allow your fans to resell your music and have them make money. So imagine if he come out now, what would he do? Like I said, you already see what he did to that last album. So imagine if he had access to studio time. You don't need no Roc Nation. Look what he did in prison. You don't need them. You don't need none of them. So they don't want him out. That's crazy work, man. That's crazy. Now we got all the evidence. Like I said, we got the DNA that they tested was his, doesn't match the DNA on the gun. They got unknown DNA. What the hell you mean unknown DNA? So who did? Y'all why that yes, sir? Because somebody made some calls. So Megan Thee Stallion, the bodyguard, and Keesley, DNA wasn't taken. Their fingerprints wasn't taken on the gun. Tory Lanez fingerprints was taken because they actually thought at that time that was a Tory gun. But guess what? His fingerprints is not on a gun. They was coming back from a party. Nobody's wearing gloves. So who gun it is? The security, like, I ain't mine. Ain't mine. And they hid this evidence from Tory Lanez because unknown to Tory, his defense lawyer was associated, affiliated, and connected to, and has done work for Live Nation and Roc Nation. They set Tory up, man. They set him up. Now he got his appeal and they don't want to let him out because he's getting ready to change the game. And I'm keeping real. If he would have died, they would have got their work done. But Megan, her career would have been gone for real. Matter of fact, her career seems like to be over right now. Because right now she's getting so much backlash on social media and she ain't even talking. She's hiding right now. We ain't hear one sound out of Megan Thee Stallion. We ain't hear an interview. We ain't here talking about how big her feet is or long her feet is. Not to be joking, but last time I heard she was talking about that. I don't care how big my feet is and all that. But now, look what she got going on for her now. See what I'm saying? So I say the industry is crazy. As soon as a female don't like a man and she make a false report, she can say the first thing, he's abusive, and y'all run with it. Some of y'all run with it. They say, yeah, he needs to be put in the jail, like Diddy case. All the prosecution is talking about how abusive he is, which he is. But nothing about sex trafficking. Meanwhile, Cassie, she all over the goddamn transcripts talking about, yeah, I love the freak offs, I want a freak off. But then when she get to the cross-examination with the prosecutor, she said, I don't want to do it no more, but I just did it because I don't want him to be mad. That's sex trafficking? What the fuck? But they play on women's emotions because a lot of y'all was abused. So it triggers you. So when you hear stuff like that, you said bury him under the jail. When you heard about Tory Lanez, you said bury him under the jail. And she only got bullet fragments in the back of her feet. And you want him to spend life in prison for bullet fragments that hit the ground? See how emotional you is? See why in Diddy case, they got 9 men jurors. They don't want 9 females. Nope. Because you're going to mess up the whole thing. We're going to stick with the men. Because the men going to see the facts instead of your emotions. And right now, in Tory Lanez's case, we've seen a whole lot of facts. Ain't that right? Come on, talk back to me now. My daughter, talk back to me. That's my daughter, y'all. But no, seriously, Tory's coming home. He's coming home. And it's crazy. They was really intentionally trying to murder him. I heard different stories. They said, they said a group of people ran around him and they started stabbing him. And then they went to the officer came, they separated. And then this Mexican guy said, I did it, and took the fall because he got life. You can't do nothing to him. Sometimes it happens like that. In the state, they do it different. They may cut you and stab you. And so they don't get rearrested. They move away with the weapon and they backup will come and jump in and fight you. So by the time you can't even chase him because he's stalling you with fighting. And by the time the officers come, they just see a fist fight. There's no weapons around. The man with the weapon disappeared. See, that's how they probably did it with him. Or maybe not. Or maybe this dude just went gun ho. You know what I'm saying? That can happen because there was a murder of one of the DC black leaders. And I believe in UPS in the federal penitentiary. They stabbed these 2 white dudes stabbed this dude up 76 times. 76 times. And then dragged him down the company so everybody could see it. So it ain't like, I'm not going to say one person can stab a person up 14 times. It can happen, And, he was stabbed up real bad in his back, his arm, his torso, his leg. They said both of his lungs collapsed. They had to fly him out on a helicopter. He almost died. He's alive. Well, maybe he did get stabbed 14 times. Sometimes they say that. They just tell you, the prison system just tell you what you want to hear. He got stabbed 14 times. He probably got stabbed 3 times, and the rest was a bunch of scratches. 1 lung probably collapsed. They say it's 2 lungs. You already never get the case of really what happened at that moment when Tory was getting it on until Tory get up there and tell you what happened. But you know what? Tory's so thorough, he's not going to even tell you what happened. You know why? Because that's street stuff. If he ain't snitch on Megan, he ain't going to tell you what happened. He going to let everybody else tell you what happened. That's all he going to do. But let's know that my man is alive. He's kicking well, and he's going to come home. And when he come home, man, those lawsuits going to be flying, boy. Woo-wee. And I'm pretty sure he done wrote a lot of music, man. I know he going to be talking a ton of stuff. You know what this remind me of? Let me take a sip. You know what this remind me of? No, this is real talk. This remind me of Tupac. Because Tory is so rebellious against the system, but he's still being successful even though he's being blackballed. He's been put in jail over a woman, just like Pac. And it was based on a lie, just like Pac. And he's cracking the music industry in prison, just like Pac. Because when Pac went to jail, Me Against the World dropped, and you heard Dear Mama, and Pac was in jail, man, you felt that. Come on now. You can put Dear Mama on right now on Mother's Day and be like, especially if your mother is no longer here on this earth. This is Pac left. This is the impact he had. And I see the same thing in Tory Lanez. And he's not giving up. You know how hard it is not to give up in prison? Especially in his lane where you're so successful and you got all these people around you, all these yes men, all these females, all these so-called family members. And then when you go to jail, you're going through your legal proceedings, they start disappearing. And then now you're in there eating sloppy joes and you trying to get some money to put on your books, but you're running out of money. You don't want to tell people you broke. You acting like you still got that money. Pac was like that too. He was broke. That's why he had to do the deal with Suge Knight to get out of jail. What you want me, this big, you know? Hell, y'all, this and whatever. Get me out of jail. 1.5 million and get my mama a house. All right, I got you. All right, foot bad boy. You can't be mad at that. He wanted to get out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So Tory case, man, he fought tooth and nail. And he won. They couldn't stop him. Even in prison on music, man, put a phone up next to some whatever recording he had, and he didn't. An album. That's a very ambitious brother, man. To the point it sounded better than the albums that was out. Some critics trying to say, you know, the music, the beats was louder than his voice. I mean, he's in prison. What do you expect? But he did a hell of a job. So shout out to Tory Lanez. Shout out to Tory Lanez, man. And I hope he get well and God bless him. And you know what? The devil came and God seen it and spared his life. God said, I ain't ready for you yet. It's for a reason. So obviously he must be doing something right because God kept him alive. So with that being said, I want to say God bless y'all. Salute. Thank you for listening to me. Y'all enjoy your night. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. And, you know, I'll see you next time. Later. And sweating me.